What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the right side of the map in the blue color, playing as Hades. His name is Jorge, previously known as Mariano, though maybe still known as Mariano. How do you do that? It's an alias and another alias. He's got two names now. We're calling him Jorge, though, because that's what he is running with. His opponent today in the red color playing as Oranos. His name is M4rcos. The map is Gold Rush. Gold Rush is the map. Jorge won that first game with some incredibly refined knowledge of his god's ability, his god's power spikes. Jorge won that first game with some incredibly refined knowledge of his god's power spikes. That is literally it. He knew exactly when he needed to fight. He knew exactly what M4rcos was going for, and he knew how to punish the entirety of what M4rcos was doing in that game. So we'll see if he's going to be able to do the same thing in this next game. It's a bit of a different map, a bit of a different situation. All the gold is really far forward here. So securing a second gold mine in this map is vitally important. I mean, you have two in your main base. I mean, maybe securing a third gold mine in this map is vitally important. Town centers all spawn around the edge of the map as well. So it's very, very hard to do like sneaky town center plays and get an advantage where that's concerned. But you can go for it. Definitely wanting the big thing here that makes a difference between like a watering hole map or in a standard map in Gold Rush is that the map is quite a bit smaller. You're much closer to your opponent's main base on this map than you are on watering hole or the other maps. And what does that mean? Well, it means that fast second town centers, while they are possible here, especially for gods like Egypt, who advance to like 4 minutes and 2 seconds to put their town center up, especially for gods like that, they can get it. But for gods like for Hades here, things can be really tough. Getting this town center up here is going to be really tough. Now, he does have a whole bunch of deer on this position behind the town center, but there is a huge opening here that M4rcos is going to be able to push in and raid this. So even if Jorge goes for this town center, M4rcos can very simply put stay one town center and just put loads of pressure. And I mean loads of pressure onto Jorge. We'll see if he's going to be able to realize that. Scouting that out and realizing that it's a possibility is definitely something that is a little bit difficult. Normally on this map, you get some boar spawns or some aggressive secondary hunt spawns, but it doesn't seem like that's the case in this Gold Rush. There is also a ton of cows to be grabbed on this map, but it looks like M4rcos has been lucky enough to find the majority of them. So he's going to be incredibly happy about that. 2 cows are going to be making their way back into Jorge's base, though there is an oracle just sitting, waiting, watching, hoping to steal those cows back for himself. But we'll see how things are going to go. Athena on the way. We already see a very fast advance time here from M4rcos. He's going for the 4-minute hunting dogs build, though it seems like it was delayed ever so slightly there. So we will be seeing some oracles getting taken down. The big question here from the side of the Oranos player is, do you ever bother building extra oracles out here to make sure you put pressure on with full HP oracles? You've got yourself a slightly hurt oracle over here, a slightly hurt oracle over here as well. So we do see that the classical age has been hit on this position. We see military barracks, we see counter barracks going down. The Ajax is going to be coming in here to cause some problems for M4rcos, as Jorge is already in. The Promethean Offspring running straight past here, though. Going to be looking to put some pressure onto the villages of Jorge, and Jorge decides, instead of putting pressure onto this villager here, which would have been doing a decent amount of damage in my opinion onto M4rcos' base there, he's retreating back to his main base to try and defend. One relic here that has been ignored, very good relic here, is the Shingles of Steel. Gets the HP of the houses up by 200%, which means they're basically not going to die. So we do see the villagers now going to be trying to get the town center up as fast as they possibly can. Arrows of Alpha is also over your extra 200% bonus damage on the buildings, as Jorge is going to be throwing his town center up here. A couple of units are out right now for M4rcos. He's going to be using the Valor and sending his units forward to put some pressure on, but Chiron is out, Ajax is out, Minotaur is out, and there's just not enough units here, really, for M4rcos to win this initial fight here. So what is he going to have to do? I think the way to play this here from the Oranos perspective is just to go after the villages. And we see even more villages of Jorge moving forward here to do this. As we see the shockwave getting thrown down here as Jorge is going to attempt to get in. He's going after the Minotaur. I think this is a bit of a mistake here from M4rcos. He needs to be putting the pressure onto the villagers. Killing villagers here is what he needs to try and do. Actually stopping this town center without having like a whole bunch of extra units here is very, very tough here. We'll see how he's going to go. Good distraction over here, but the hero Murmillo will get taken down, and the town center, even with 3 units attacking it, will end up getting up. No villagers go down. 1 Minotaur goes down, 1 hero Murmillo, and 1 Murmillo over here, plus the Promethean Offspring go down, and M4rcos is sent packing here, not able to do anything anymore on that location. Now, we do have to remember, this hunt here is still not safe hunt. M4rcos has to realize that he can move up and around through here to hit this hunt and cause a lot of problems onto Jorge's economy. Jorge's also only got himself 6 cows on this in this position here. Now we do see the granary coming up over here. The army of M4rcos is going to be swinging around as well, looking to pressure through onto this position. As the Chiron will be dropping the relic into the temple here. As M4rcos trots in, the villagers will immediately be retreating away. We'll see if Jorge is going to be able to get himself out anything here to defend from this. And the big question is, are we just going to see more and more units pumping here for M4rcos? And I do think that a solid pressure onto this location here is going to be very valuable here for M4rcos. M4rcos leaving the hunt for the time being. A little bit of a mistake here. I think he should just stay on it. He is trying to break down this sentry tower, which is a good idea. He's breaking this sentry tower down will remove the line of sight for Jorge, so he will be able to continue to raid through onto this position. This is giving, while this is happening, he is giving away a little bit more hunt here for Jorge, and that allows a lot of the villagers to continue to be training. At the moment, a little bit of idle time there for Jorge. As you do see a little bit of a raid now coming in onto the gold over here, as the tower is about to fall. That one does go down. We will be seeing M4rcos now moving back up into this position. He doesn't know. Jorge is played this nicely. He's given this this tower as an option to be attacked, but he's just not putting pressure onto this hunt. And Jorge is getting out an army here, which will allow him to defend this hunt here, or at the very least allow him to continue in this game nicely. Though that being said, M4rcos putting all the pressure onto the gold here is not a bad idea in the slightest. As the villager over here will get sniped down. Army coming in for Jorge to attack on this position. As we see Jorge going to be having to retreat. Not Jorge, M4rcos going to have to retreat away from here. Again, we see Hoplite Toxotes here. And I want to see Cairo Ballista coming out for M4rcos. I don't think M4rcos needs to have a mobile army in this game. He needs to have a positional army and just sit here and do what he needs to do to push the villagers off of the gold. And he can definitely be thinking about getting a gold starve in this game, but he is not taking these fights nicely at all. He's going to be getting himself up Shockwave very shortly here as well. As the archery range coming down here, and we'll see if Jorge can hold on. Archery range will be getting taken out. Not going to be allowing that one up all too easily. I would love to see M4rcos splitting up his Terma a little bit, running in, sniping Toxotes, and giving himself an advantage. As we do see the Ajax getting sniped down there. Nice play to pick that one off. The villagers are back onto this gold mine. There's more units coming in onto the back here for Jorge. Not able to pick off the Terma just yet. M4rcos still sitting. He's at 115 population. We do see villagers in the middle of the map here for M4rcos. I'd love to see some more military buildings getting thrown up a little bit closer to Jorge's base here, especially with those units already forward. As the army coming through, the hoplites trying to get some good damage done. Restoration does get shot down there, but that's just going to be giving a little bit of time here. m4rcos needs to turn around and continue to take these fights here. He's starting to get himself some Prometheans out here as well. Do we see an Ajax is queued back up? I do not see the Ajax. This means those Promethean are going to get some good value moving along in this game as Jorge has to retreat back. Terma getting good damage done onto the Toxotes here on the back as they're all falling as they're trying to retreat back into this concave over here. But while this is all going on, it looks like Jorge has managed to kind of create himself a little bit of a defensive position. We'll see how this is all going to go as villagers are going to start getting taken down. Jorge in a very, very difficult position right now. More units streaming in from the top here, but with the Promethean on the top here, going to be able to target these units down, distract quite nicely here. That's going to be a difficult time for Jorge to hold on to both positions as m4rcos is putting the pedal to the metal. 115 of 115 population. Now m4rcos can put up his second town center. Now m4rcos should put up his second town center and kind of play this game in a similar fashion to what Army Corps, XBT Cyclone, all of the old Oranos players, the experts of old, showed us where you can go full population, throw your town centers down, and continue to put pressure on. We'll see how it's going to work here as the villagers get pulled off of the town center there, off the gold mine there. And where else can Jorge go? There's no easy way to sneak gold mines here. All the gold mines have been controlled here by m4rcos' line of sight. He's got gold mines controlled everywhere. We see another barracks come up. Looks like m4rcos is wanting to go to the heroic age. I think that the heroic age here is a decent idea. I think it's going to be completely fine, but I would have liked to see town centers grabbed in this position, and maybe even grabbing this town center on the top here as well wouldn't have gone astray at this point, as Jorge right now, he's got so much wood in the bank. He's got farms set up over here. He's got army over here. He's got 90 population. He can't build any more units here. So he's going to basically have to take a fight with everything, as we do see. Oh, we got a raid coming over onto the wood line. This is a distraction here that I don't think m4rcos needs. He just needs to stay on top of the gold. Every little bit of gold that he gives over to Jorge is an opportunity for Jorge to come back in this game. There's more units moving through. The villagers on the gold mine mining a lot of that gold up. Good little bits of damage coming in onto the hoplites over here as well. m4rcos going to be losing the hoplites there. We do see the Murmillo trying to take this fight while this army is a little bit idle on this location, as it's going to be moving up to the top side here. The villagers back on. There's a lot of villagers on gold, getting a lot of gold here for Jorge to get his units back up. But Hyperion has been clicked up right now for m4rcos, as the Chiron does get chased down. While that happens, we see the Ajax is back out over here as well. The units here for Jorge are all getting sniped down. More military buildings coming down here as the village is finally deciding to pull off here to try and snipe down the Terma. m4rcos' population dropping down quite significantly here as he has to retreat back ever so slightly here, as we do see the villagers trying to get onto this gold mine. They get themselves almost 300 gold from there, but do have to retreat back. 60 villagers are out right now for Jorge. And this is the thing. Hades just doesn't die. You need to make sure that Hades is no longer gathering gold. That's what you need to do here. As m4rcos now gets pushed back, Jorge somehow, some way still alive in this game, as m4rcos bringing back his army. He's got himself medium infantry. He doesn't have any armory upgrades here. I would have liked to see him maybe get himself some pierce upgrades as this game is continuing along, but he's just not getting those ones there. As the Terma coming through as best as they can, retreating back. We do see Chaos getting dropped there to help out ever so slightly as the villagers coming through. Arcus will be able to start getting trained here, as we see the Satyr probably also going to be getting trained as well, as we see Gemino coming through. Which one is it? I don't know. As the units push in to try and take these units out as best as they possibly can. Terma coming through onto the back of these Toxotes as best as they possibly can. More Terma getting cleaned up on this position here. But the population is getting closer and closer to equal here, as Jorge is managing to get himself gold. He's managing to get himself an army out. And the population is equal. Obviously, there is a ton more population in villages for Jorge here. But his army is Greek, and it's going to be able to hold maybe here. The gold mine's getting mined out. The more pressure you put on, the more gold you exhaust, I guess, though, from the perspective of m4rcos. So he can just continue to take kind of equal trades here, as the villagers are going to get pushed off of this gold mine right now. He does have the gold mine back here as well that he can jump onto if he so chooses. As Jorge is trying to get himself up to full population here, losing a bunch of villages. There's still no town center up, as M4rcos might be considering going one town center straight to the mythic age here. Not a bad idea in the slightest, given that he went straight to the heroic age off of one town center as well. So we'll see how that's going to go. There's good micro coming in there from M4rcos yet again, pulling that Chiron back. Miller going to be chasing the Chiron down here, getting some good damage down from those Arcos. He needs to stop chasing the Chiron there, and he does exactly that. Good play where that's concerned. Some more units coming through. I wouldn't mind seeing M4rcos throwing down some Palace here. A Palace on this position controls these two gold mines really, really nicely. Also, obviously, giving him access to the destroyers here. But look at this. Jorge's alive. Jorge is very much alive. We do see a Hero Contario is going to be coming in, which is going to be a big, big help. But Jorge is alive here. He's grabbing this gold mine. This gold mine's almost expired. He's gotten himself out an army here. As Jorge retreats back, and M4rcos here, he's getting himself a second town center instead of putting that palace down that we said. I think M4rcos is putting his hardest effort into throwing this game away. He needs to get control of the center, and that is it. He doesn't need town centers. He just needs tons of buildings here in the center, because Jorge is not going to be able to leave the classical age. He's not going to be able to get himself any siege to get himself out of his base. So if you put a palace here, you put a palace here, they both protect each other. They protect all the gold mines in the middle of the map. Huge shockwave coming in, though, from M4rcos as he's still trying to hold on here. The Arcus versus Toxotes fight actually goes in favor of the Toxotes. Little known fact. And this is one of the things that actually the pros noticed in the very early stages of Age of Titans, was that Arcus just aren't that good. It was compared to Toxotes, but it wasn't as accurate as they thought. But in this situation, this is the situation they were thinking about. Archers versus archers, Toxotes just win the fight. They just win because they deal 7.8 damage a second compared to 6.6 damage a second. They have the same HP. They've got the same armor. So it's just a straight stat increase for Toxotes in the Archer versus Archer war. Obviously, Arcus have got an extra 20 range, so that might allow them to get a little bit more DPS done in the early stages of the game. But somehow, some way here, M4rcos is now in a losing position. Jorge is getting himself his gold mine. He's in the center of the map here. The town center is up for M4rcos here, but he's sitting at 88 population. He cannot get the units out that he needs to deal with these Toxotes because he did not get himself a palace here. All he needed was a palace and destroyers here, and then those Toxotes would have been much, much worse here in this game. As now, just see Contario is coming through. It's going to be causing a little bit of problems here for the Toxotes. Good micro from M4rcos for the moment there, as the archers finally start hitting that cavalry unit there. As M4rcos retreating back here, we see a third town center coming up as well for Jorge. Jorge more than happy at this point to sit in the classical age. Good micro from M4rcos trying to pull himself back into this game. But with Jorge getting himself this town center up, he's going to have 145 population to play with. Plenty of resources or plenty of income here with his 77 villager economy. Is the army going to be pulling back? See some military academies coming up for Jorge here to try and deal with those Contarios that are coming out. But 3 town centers for Jorge. Gold mines secured. I wouldn't mind seeing Jorge invest a little bit into towers here, just in case. But he doesn't really need it. More units flowing through for Jorge. His economy is gigantic here. He can easily maintain this type of trading with his economy, with his archers, with his hoplites, with the Hades Shades that are going to be coming out with all these trades. Whereas M4rcos here, he's just about to hit that 25 villager cap, which means he needs 3 town centers to even be able to compete here. The army is just so strong for Jorge in this game. As the Contarius coming through here to take everything out as best as they possibly can. Ajax on this position will be getting taken down. Chiron going to be trying to take out the Satyr on the back here. As you do see the Contarius getting cleaned up on this position. Now Hades Shades flowing through here, going to try and take out the Arcus as best as they possibly can. And it looks like M4rcos has to retreat yet again. And now the problem which Jorge had once in this game is now the problem which M4rcos has. And that is that the gold is about to expire. He's got himself 700 or 800 gold left. continuing to take these fights down population, and he's just not going to be able to get himself a gold mine any longer. He has managed to mine 3,000 gold out of the front gold mine here and a little bit of gold out of this gold mine as well, but this is about to be a difficult time for M4rcos. And we also see watchtowers coming through here for Jorge. He might decide to start putting towers down in the middle of the map here to control. As we do see the villagers sneaking this gold mine here. Jorge doesn't have line of sight of that one here in this game. As M4rcos pulls back his army as best as he can, going to sit underneath the town center. Now we see Aphrodite coming through for Jorge, which is absolutely gigantic moving forward in this game. And what else can M4rcos do? He's now sitting at full population, but if you look at the full population, it just doesn't, it's just not that big. We do see a tower coming up over here. There's a little bit of raids coming through. He's got a couple of units in his military barracks here, but he just doesn't have the population to just compete with this army in the slightest. As we see watchtowers through, probably going to get crenellation straight away as well. As soon as he can afford it, I guess he gets crenellations. Not only that, the watchtowers are through. I think there was the relics grabbed. No, shingles are still. He must have let, well, arrows of alpha must have gone to M4rcos here. Which makes it even more of a point. Why didn't he put a palace down? 200% extra bonus damage out of the palace would have been huge here. And there's the heroic age. There's the curse. And there is the tap out from Jorge. M4rcos had this game in the bag. He left the gold for a raid on the wood line. Sure, picking off villages is great and all, but he didn't have to leave the gold. He could have just sat on the gold mines, and there was nothing that Jorge could do to get himself any gold out to make any more units, and there would have been zero chance for Jorge to get back in this game had M4rcos just sat on the gold mines here. Jorge made a huge blunder by allowing that tower to go down. Not walling that tower in, not protecting that tower, meant that his gold mines were completely exposed here in this game. And it was just, the game was M4rcos' for the taking, and he just could not work it out. And then even after all of that, he still had position to throw palace down. He had the heroic age first, throw a palace down. He also could have grabbed 3 town centers in the classical age, full cent in the classical age, like all of the Oranos players of old, the greats of old. But he just threw it away, and Jorge now up 2-0 in this best of 5 series, 1 game away from securing his spot in the Champions League. If you guys enjoyed this game, please consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTubes, hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next game.